Who or what is the beast from Revelation chapter 13? An interpretation for the time of the end. First we will read Revelation chapter 13 verse 1 and 2.
And I saw a beast rising out of the sea, with 10 horns and 7 heads, with 10 diadems on its horns and blasphemous names on its heads. And the beast that I saw was like a leopard, its feet were like a bear's, and its mouth was like a lion's mouth. And to it the dragon gave his power and his throne and great authority.
To interpret this animal, it is helpful to look at Daniel chapter 7. Here we encounter the animals as individual animals. There we read in Daniel chapter 7 verses 2+3.
Daniel declared, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the 4 winds of heaven were stirring up the great sea. And 4 great beasts came up out of the sea, different from one another.
We continue reading from verse 4, but in excerpts.
The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. And behold, another beast, a second one, like a bear. After this I looked, and behold, another, like a leopard, with 4 wings of a bird on its back. And the beast had 4 heads. After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, terrifying and dreadful and exceedingly strong. It had great iron teeth, it devoured and broke in pieces and stamped what was left with its feet. It was different from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns.
The meaning of the animals is explained to Daniel by an angel, as we continue reading in Daniel chapter 7 verse 17.
These 4 great beasts are 4 kings who shall arise out of the earth.
These 4 animals are called kings by the angels. So we can assume that the last beast of the end times, the beast of Revelation chapter 13, a union of several states, will be represented as a nation. This view also agrees with the prophecy from Daniel 2, because it says in Daniel chapter 2 about the last world power in verses 41 to 44.
And as you saw the feet and toes, partly of potter's clay and partly of iron, it shall be a divided kingdom, but some of the firmness of iron shall be in it, just as you saw iron mixed with the soft clay. And as the toes of the feet were partly iron and partly clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly brittle. As you saw the iron mixed with soft clay, so they will mix with one another in marriage, but they will not hold together, just as iron does not mix with clay. And in the days of those kings the God of heaven will set up a kingdom that shall never be destroyed, nor shall the kingdom be left to another people. It shall break in pieces all these kingdoms and bring them to an end, and it shall stand forever.
We can assume that the 4 beasts from Daniel chapter 7 are identical to the beast from Revelation chapter 13. Here are some parallels from Daniel chapter 7 to Revelation chapter 13. 1. The animals come from the sea. Revelation chapter 13 verse 1.
And I saw a beast rising out of the sea.
Daniel chapter 7 verse 3.
And 4 great beasts came up out of the sea.
2. The first 3 beasts of Revelation chapter 13 are the same first 3 beasts that come out of the sea in Daniel chapter 7. Namely,
the first was like a lion, and behold, another beast, a second one, like a bear. After this I looked, and behold, another, like a leopard.
3. Both the beast of Revelation chapter 13 and the 4 beasts of Daniel 7 each have 7 heads and 10 horns. The four animals have a total of 7 heads and 10 horns. 3 animals have 1 head and the leopard has 4 heads. 3 animals have no horn and the 4th animal has 10 horns. 4. The 4 beasts from Daniel chapter 7 are on earth at the same time, as each beast appears without the previous beast disappearing.
As for the rest of the beasts, their dominion was taken away, but their lives were prolonged for a season and a time.
5. It is the time of the end.
I saw in the night visions, and behold, with the clouds of heaven there came one like a son of man, and he came to the Ancient of Days and was presented before him. And to him was given dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all peoples, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away, and his kingdom one that shall not be destroyed.
By the number of parallels we can say that the states represented by the 4 beasts of Daniel chapter 7 will merge into one state in the end times, which in turn is represented by the beast of Revelation chapter 13. Since we are already living in the time of the end, we should already recognize the states from Daniel chapter 7. So let's take a closer look at these animals. First, the lion.
The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. Then as I looked, its wings were plucked off, and it was lifted up from the ground and made to stand on 2 feet like a man, and the mind of a man was given to it.
This image could be based on England, which has the lion as its heraldic animal. The wings then became the empire, which spread over the entire earth. Until 1918, the emir had his greatest power. Later, states such as France, Holland, Denmark, Germany and Spain also divided the world among themselves. It continues in Daniel chapter 7 verse 4.
Then as I looked, its wings were plucked off.
After the Second World War, the European colonial states lost their power over the colonies and had to release these countries to freedom. In Daniel chapter 7 verse 4 it says at the end,
"And it was lifted up from the ground and made to stand on 2 feet like a man, and the mind of a man was given to it."
These very countries, which have exploited the nations of the world for centuries, are the founders of human rights and are particularly insisting on human rights today. America was essentially settled and made great by Europeans and is now a world power. So we can say that the lion represents the Western world. The bear. Daniel chapter 7 verse 5.
"And behold, another beast, a second one, like a bear. It was raised up on one side. It had 3 ribs in its mouth between its teeth, and it was told, 'Arise, devour much flesh.'"
The Russian Empire is often compared to a bear. With the advent of communism, the bear came out of the sea and Russia became a world power. After World War II, the Soviet Union had its greatest expansion of power. Many countries were incorporated into the Soviet Empire. The alignment to one side could mean that it only incorporated neighboring states, and not like the colonial powers that acted worldwide. In Revelation chapter 13 verse 3 it is said,
"One of its heads seemed to have a mortal wound, but its mortal wound was healed, and the whole earth marveled as they followed the beast."
1989 East das Sowjetimperium Zusammengebrochen. Und es sah so aus. It looked like it would no longer play a role in world politics. Today, however, Russia has returned to the world stage. Der Leopard Daniel Kapitel 7 Vers 6.
After this I looked, and behold, another, like a leopard, with 4 wings of a bird on its back. And the beast had 4 heads, and dominion was given to it.
We always talk about the Third World. Accordingly, the First World is the Western world, the Second World is Russia, and the Third World is the developing states. Today, China has emerged from the developing states to become a world power, and India is also striving for a leading role in the world. Both countries have a total of 2.5 billion people. The other Asian countries are also referred to as tiger states. This may be represented by the 4 heads. Through the Silk Road project, China has a great influence on many countries in Asia and Africa. Unlike the colonial states in the 19th and 20th centuries, but is very dominant over these countries due to its strong economic power. This is represented by the wings, similar to the lion. But the leopard's wings are not torn out. The 4th beast is not presented to us as a familiar animal. We read in Daniel chapter 7 verse 7.
After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, terrifying and dreadful and exceedingly strong. It had great iron teeth. It devoured and broke in pieces and stamped what was left with its feet. It was different from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns.
In Daniel chapter 7 verse 24 we are told more about this animal.
The 10 horns mean, 10 kings will arise from that kingdom, but after them another rises. This one is very different from the previous ones. He will overthrow 3 kings, he will blaspheme the Most High and oppress the saints of the Most High. He wants to change the festival times and the law. To him the saints are delivered for a time and 2 times and half a time.
Here we have a parallel with Revelation chapter 13. Both Daniel chapter 7 and Revelation chapter 13 say that there will be blasphemy against God and that there will be power for 42 months, which is exactly 3.5 years. Since this animal has not yet come out of the sea, I was not yet sure about this interpretation in 2014 when I first looked at this Bible text. But today, in 2024, I believe it will be the Islamic states. Islam is not a homogeneous state. They are still fighting each other. But they agree on one thing. They are against Israel and also against the Christians. Christians are already being persecuted in the Islamic states today. With this they blaspheme God. In 2024 they will rise from the sea. We will monitor developments closely. They will only have full power over Christianity in 3.5 years. These 4 beasts from Daniel chapter 7 will unite as one world government in the last 3.5 years. This will be the most difficult time for Christians. Revelation shows us that some things have to happen first. The next video covers the last 42 months.